Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us on our very first Hospital CPD webinar for Isopharm. My name's Beverly Mitten. I'm the Lab and Training Sales Manager for Isopharm, and I'm here today to talk to you about our new exciting project, our online decontamination CPD training platform. So I'm just going to run through a few slides with you, first of all, just to put a bit of background and context together. And then we'll have jump onto the actual website and I'll show you the live training platform. I can see a lot of you already are using the chat, which is fantastic. So thank you very much. Any technical issues, jump on there. We've got some tech guys in the background who'll be able to assist if you can't hear me or the screen's gone a little bit strange. But if you've got any questions as we go, there's also a Q&A section. Put all your comments in there. Hopefully I'll cover them as I go with what I'm explaining. But if there's anything that I've missed, I'll pick these up at the end and go through them all individually. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to switch my camera off so you can focus on the actual presentation rather than looking at me, which is really good. Bear with me. Okay, so just a little bit of context for those of you who are not aware of Isopharm, but I'm sure many of you are. The company's been established since 1999, with initially a focus on validation systems and softwares offerings, basically for engineer testing of the decontamination equipment. So a lot of engineers within decon working in sterile services, endoscopy departments, are fully aware of Isopharm and users quite extensively. So we extended the offering by the introduction of HTMs, so more products, more testing was available. And then in 2009, with the introduction of the HTMs, HTM 0105, basically for primary care and dental practices, we launched our dental division. And then in 2017, the company expanded further by offering water testing lab services, which is accredited to a wide range of UCAS standards. And again, many of you are fully aware of us using that process. So next steps, we basically introduced a dental CPD online training platform, which has got close to 70,000 registers at the moment. And then the natural progression was basically looking at offering online training for decontamination. So the CPD, continuing professional development that we've created, is basically covering sterile services and endoscope decontamination staff. So any staff working in these areas will find the CPD training that we've created extremely useful. Definitely beneficial for new starters. I've been working with a couple of departments at the moment where we've included it as part of their induction process. So anybody new coming into the department, it's a great process to work alongside their sort of shop floor learning at the same time. Also, for those that have been in the industry or in their job role for some time, it basically helps with the sort of like refresher training, and it's brilliant just to sort of like remind all the guys exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it. And also, it's a great step for those that are actually looking to progress their careers within decontamination. Lots of information for them to take in and understand better before going on to take any sort of formal qualifications. So alongside the sterile services and endoscope decontamination area, we also created CPD, especially for our validation engineers that work within decontamination. So obviously they have to require professional qualifications to do their roles. So this has been set up to help with sort of refresher training, focusing on individual sort of testing regimes and giving them lots of information. And the focus really has been to understand why things are happening and not just how to do a particular test. So it really gives them that background knowledge. And we also feel that the sterile service and endoscopy decontamination courses will also assist the engineers get a real understanding of what the guys on the shop floor are doing, that will basically understand why they're doing what they're doing too. So the hospital CPD basically launched toward the end of May, so we've only been live for a few weeks now, and we launched with 70 courses covering all of these areas. So the course content was actually built and created working with industry experts from many decontamination units, and also a handful of AEDs have assisted with this as well, and also reviewed any content that's been created. So it's a fantastic team that I've been working with to really get this up and running. So the training, we class it as bite-sized training. The concept being is courses last between 30 minutes and 60 minutes, no more than that, to basically keep the staff engaged, want them to understand and take in what they've been learning. And basically it will also limit any impact on production. So you can allocate sort of training slots to the staff to be able to come out of the department, do a little bit of training, and then get back in and help with the team getting the work through the production area. But it also gives them that sort of focus that they are learning at the same time. So each of the courses, there will be a short assessment to confirm their competency. It's multiple choice or true or false questions. So we're not trying to trip them up in any shape or form. It's just more of a tick box process and allow them to sort of get through that course. We're looking at 80% pass rate, which is sort of quite standard for training courses. And at the end of each course, they will get an online certificate for each of the modules that they've passed. And this can be stored actually on the platform, or it can actually be printed to go into some training records. And on the platform, you're also able to update with any external and internal training records. So if you've got any certificates that you want to put alongside this training, that function is also available. So I will go through that as part of the tour as well. So what we've done is, as everything is in bite-sized pieces and 70 courses, it just makes sense to put them into different categories, and it just gives the guys everything to focus on individual areas of the process and be able to locate courses that they're interested in or required to complete. So just a bit of an overview here. So we've broken it down into microbiology, so all the backgrounds that you'd need to understand in the world of decontamination. There's a load of courses to do with endoscope decontamination, and then we move on to sterile services, cleaning and disinfection, sterile services, inspection, assembly and packaging, so that's all the clean area courses. Then there's courses on sterile services, sterilization, storage and distribution, and then there's a focus on the quality side, so quality management systems and regulatory considerations. They're based in that category. Then there's a handful of the validation engineer categories. So this is where the validation engineers can focus on their particular courses. And we've also got a host of other courses that we've brought over to do with medical emergencies, health and safety, staff development, first aid, and staff and HR, basically to supplement the process and their careers. So what I would like to do now is log on to our website, and I'll take you through some of the course content and how the platform actually works. So this is the website of our hospital CPD training platform. And to actually log into an account, it's really straightforward just by clicking the login button. And we're here to support get the account set up, and it is just an email address and a password to set the accounts up. We initially issue a password, but then this can be changed once the account is live to make it something that's easy to remember, and the guys can get logged in quite quickly. So here I am logged in. I do have a test sort of faux department set up with many members of staff within my department, just so that I can show the platform to yourselves and other customers as we're launching this product. So this is the first page that we would come into. The headers at the top of the page are the same as the website, which ask you to come and have a look at some point. I'll send you some links about the website after this webinar. So I'm logged in at the moment as Pauline, and there's 3 parts to the account. So basically my course list, my certificates and statements, and my accounts. So I'll run through each of these with you as well. When you first log on to the account, it does offer some suggested training courses. Basically, these are courses that are allocated to the job role. And when Pauline set up the accounts, she was asked to put in a job role that was most sufficient to her job title. So here, Pauline's actually been set up as a decontamination technician. So the focus has been decontamination modules that will show up on this first page. And at this point, it will also show courses that are in progress, which I'll go into a little bit more detail shortly. But basically, you can start a course, and if you need to come out of it, you can save it, and it will also show on this first page when they log back in, so they can get straight back to that course. So the easy way to navigate through the training platform is actually using this section called View All Categories. So initially, it will list every single course that is available on this platform through this section, but you can basically work your way through the different categories, and they're all in the order, realistically, of the process. So starting off with EDU and SSD microbiology courses. So here we've launched with 3 courses, a focus on basic microbiology, infection prevention and control, and hand hygiene. And it's really simple just to click the button to start the course. I'll just run through a few more categories just so you get a bit of a feel of the platform. So for endoscopy, decontamination, here we can see there's a course or in progress. And then we also have covered PPE, cleaning, disinfection of endoscopes, and production, release, storage, and transportation. Sorry, the first one was the receipt of endoscopes into the department. So you can see that the process has been broken down into bite-sized pieces for the full process here. SSD, cleaning and disinfection. Again, it breaks it down into small chunks for each of the full process. So in this order, it should be PPE for the wash area. Look at risk management for receipt of items into the wash area. Basically looks at considerations for the work coming into sterile services. So before anything is actually touched, before any trolleys or containers are opened, what are the risks and what should be looked at and considered? We've got the different cleaning processes that can take place in a sterile services wash area. There's a focus on loading baskets, how to correctly load baskets and carriages for the most effective wash process. And there's also a focus on manual cleaning. Again, just breaks it down into small bite sizes so that you can see all of these. Rather than having hours and hours of content, it's just been broken down into small, nice pieces that the staff can take on board and really understand. Just do sterilisation just to show. So the launch of these courses, the focus here has been about the processes of within decontamination and a little bit of the background. So the focus there has been the microbiology and infection control. I will be talking to you a little bit later about upcoming courses. So what I'd like to do now is actually jump into a course and show you. So my course list here will basically focus on suggested training courses, obviously under this category, but it will then focus on courses that are actually live and that I would actually need to finish, or Pauline would need to finish. So let's do a basic microbiology, take you through the first few pages of what to expect and how a staff member would actually go through the training. So we've put a recommendation of how long it would take to actually complete the training here. So this one is an hour, and the hour would include taking the assessments, and we focus basically an hour where the content might be a little bit more involved. So where basic microbiology is not everybody's normal day-to-day conversation, we've given them the extra sort of time to basically be able to read through the content, probably a couple of times before they actually go forward and take the assessments. And I think an hour would be sufficient to do that. So the course does actually start with when it was first uploaded, when it was last revised, and also the next review date. There is an annual review of the content, but we are looking at that probably a little bit closer than a year. And if there is any changes that are required, we can update content very, very quickly. This part can basically, you can ignore this section, but this is all the different job titles and who's relevant to take this course. So we make sure that this course is available in their access. A few details about the course. So this course provides a basic understanding of microbiology and why it's important in decontamination, covering the routes of transmission of infections and methods of prevention. It'll be provided with a short presentation followed by an assessment. And if you reach 80% or more, you will pass the course and receive a printable certificate to place in your training records. Also explains if you do not pass, you have the opportunity to review the content and retake the assessment whenever you feel confident. With taking the courses and you pass the courses, you can take them as many times as you want. The course will just remain on your access. So if you want to review it in 6 months' time, then that is available. But if you don't pass the course, then it's obviously still there to access and continue studying. So there's aims, objectives, and learning outcomes to just give an overview of what the course contains and what they're going to be studying. And this information will also be printed out on the certificate. So it can be a standalone certificate explaining what the course is. And there's also a little section on legislation and regulations, just to understand what's it relating to. All you need to do is click Start the Course. Just comes up with a little reminder of what course you're starting, actually how many pages are in the course, the number of questions that you'll get on the assessments, a reminder of 80% pass rate, and that it is an unlimited number of attempts. So you just click Continue to the course. And here we start right at the beginning. What is microbiology? There's a few images along the way to assist, and the staff would basically read through the content. It's all put into small bite-sized pieces. There's no super long paragraphs or anything to sort of get lost in. And there is a focus, obviously in bold, of terminology that we would like the guys to pick up and take forward with their studies. I hope you can see this all okay. And then at the end of the page, there is a short summary, which just gives a bit of a focus to what the page was about. But then also the summary can relate to what's actually going to be the assessment. So I think you can see here, it's quite straightforward and easy to read and understand. Got the option here to save the progress. So if you want to save the progress and go to a different course, or if you have to go back to work or go home, the course will then start on this page for you. And then another option would be click next page. So here we've got a focus on the size of microbes and just the fact that they are too small to be seen with the naked eye. So basically you don't know what it is that you might be touching with potential contaminants. If you scroll through, talks about different sizes, even the flu virus. And again, there's a bit of a focus here to really relay it back to what the guys are working within their decontamination areas. So the focus is obviously about microbiology, but we always keep bringing it back to make sure we explaining it in the way that they would understand and how it would work as their role. And again, a summary to take away from this page, and also potentially in the assessment. Let's do one more page here. So this focuses on bacteria, focusing on the different shapes, different conditions, best conditions for growth, how much they grow, and again, another summary. So I think you can see how straightforward the course is, but also it's bringing the right information to them and it's not getting lost in the detail. So what I'd like to do now is probably look at a couple more courses just to give you an overview of how it looks and how it works and understand the sort of content that we've been focusing on. So I'm going to use the magic save button, and then this takes me back to the first page where all the live courses are. So receipt of endoscopes into the department. I click course in progress. So this is missing the first couple of pages because I've already started this course, but here you can see this is the first course after PPE that they would do for endoscope decontamination. So a focus on what is an endoscope, the fact that there's different types of endoscopes, bit of background information about both flexible and rigid endoscopes. So there really is a good understanding of what they're doing and why they're doing it. So a little bit about Spalding classification here. I know some areas still use this as a process, but I think it's really helpful within the world of endoscopes to really understand why this is a slightly different process compared to a sterile services process. And again, there's a summary to explain an overview of the page. We also take information from the HTMs to really make sure that the information is being passed on to the staff to really understand the processes. And here we're focusing on the classification again and the fact that there is potential for a high risk process, so would require a sterilisation process. And this will be picked up in further courses. So this first course is just an understanding of scopes coming in. And then the next courses will start to talk about actual processing. I've created a bit of a reprocessing flow here just to explain what happens within endoscope decontamination, because it can get a little bit lost in translation, and depending on when the scopes are required to be used or when they've last been used. And so it makes it really clear that the different processes that could are required for the scope to either process it as soon as possible or keep it moist prior to a decontamination process. And here we can start at the importance of bedside clean. So this is even before the scope has actually come into the decontamination unit. They get a real understanding of what needs to happen and why it needs to happen before the scope actually comes into the units. Okay, so I'll save the progress here and focus on another course. Going to have a quick look at wrapping techniques. So this is SSD, inspection, assembly and packaging. So this is basically wrapping techniques. Obviously, there are multiple different wrapping techniques that are used within each of the decontamination areas, the decontamination units. So we will talk about all the possible options, but there definitely is a focus to basically make sure that you follow your own internal SOPs or work instructions to make sure you are using the correct method or the required method for your unit. But here we talk about the tortuous path. So there's a real explanation of why things are wrapped the way that they are. And it's not just a process, there is real consideration of what's taken place. So the focus here, obviously, two main wrapping methods. And then also explaining about aseptic presentation and what's best for sterilisation. So for this course, there is a video to go through the wrapping method, and that's for both of those. And then also, we've got lots of images as well. So it really explains each of the stages and understand what's happening. So I'm going to leave that course there. So under this course, I've actually got to the end of the course, which is the next stage that I want to show you. So risk management for receipt of items into the wash area. The actual last page of this on every single course is called guidance resources. So it does just explain that you've actually finished the course and you'll be moving next on to the assessment. But below this, there are actually some links to some websites for any of the staff that would like to learn or understand any more. And all the links click on to sort of government-based or guidance-based websites. And these will regularly be checked or updated where required. So here at the end of this, it actually moves on to the assessment. So let's have a quick look at an assessment. So starting assessment, click the button. So this is risk management for the receipt of items into the wash area. So this is basically 12 questions. Question 1, what paperwork should be sent with a repair item? Options are loan paperwork, processing instructions, contamination status form, or a check sheet. I'm hoping the correct answer is contamination status form. And then you just click next question. So what should you check for when removing a tray from a trolley received into a wash area? Sharp sticking out of the tray. If received in a sterilisation container, the tray matches the container. The correct check sheet, you should check for instruments inside the wrap. So out of all of these, I believe all of these are correct. So I've not specified exactly how many answers are needed, but if you read through the question and all the information, I think it would make it quite clear. So if a tray is received with an item missing, select which two should be informed. So would you inform a colleague, a patient, the supervisor, or a user? So this would be a supervisor or user. So we have specified here that we actually need two answering, and it would need the two to be answered correctly to get the mark. And we just carry on basically for 12 questions. So rather than showing you all 12 questions, I'll move on to another course. So I'm going to save my progress and I will show you the end of an assessment. So under PPE for IAP area, I've got to the end of the course, I've completed the assessment, and here it tells me, congratulations, I have passed the course, which is good news. So there's a couple of things on this final page, and this is just before you get the certificates. Reflective learning is included. So I know some departments utilise this as a process. So we've included this, and basically if you say yes, you'll get a few boxes to drop down and complete for reflective learning. So how this course will apply to your profession and how will you continue to develop in this area. So that information can be included. If you don't want your department to do reflective learning, that's also fine. You can just say no, and then the drop-down boxes don't appear. And then we ask for just a quick course feedback, just so that we can keep on top of the courses and make sure that they're constructed and the content is relatable to the course itself. So we ask if the aims and the objectives were met, if the course is clear and easy to understand, was it enjoyable, did it meet your learning expectations, and did the course identify any new learning needs? Basically, you click any of these boxes to answer those. It won't let you finish the course until you actually give this feedback. If we do get any sort of disagrees on the feedback, it will come back to us, and it's something that we will follow up just to understand with a department manager, just to understand what the feedback and if there was anything that we can do to change or improve the course. So if I click finish course here, it's actually told me here I've got 90%, so I've passed the 80% and I've got 9 out of 10 questions correctly. You do have the option here to then actually view where you've gone incorrect with any of your answers, which I think is really beneficial to make sure that you have got the right information and you are learning. So one of the questions that I went wrong on was what does the Health and Social Care Act Code of Practice do? It does all of these things, but I've obviously clicked on advisors on decontamination, which it doesn't. So I've got that question wrong, but at least now I can have a look and understand where I have gone wrong. Come out of that, and then you've got an option to download the certificates. You don't have to download the certificate. I will show you where it saves in my certificates, but then you have this option here. And this is a copy of the certificate, explaining which course I've completed, when I completed the course, which is just now today. This is the date that the certificate got printed, as I've just finished the feedback. It's got the course aims and the course objectives to explain the course. So if it was to be printed out, you've got the full explanation of what the course is. And if I did complete reflective learning, it would print after the certificate. So this can be kept in your records for any sort of future discussions. So we just go back to the training platform. So if we look at my certificates and statements, this shows the courses that Pauline's completed. So here is the one that we've just finished now, PPE for IAP area, and which category it belongs to, the duration of the course and the date it was completed. And then you've got another option here to download the certificate. So you don't have to do it as soon as the course finishes. It will always, all your certificates will save in this area, and you can download them at any time if you want to get a paper-based copy. Obviously, hand hygiene was completed, and also PPE. So another area within my certificates and statements, so this is the Isopharm certificates. You've also got an option to upload certificates. So any sort of external or internal training that's not the Isopharm training can actually be logged on this platform as well, which is a really helpful place to keep all your training records all in one place. It's really straightforward to upload a certificate, and I've got one here already completed. But I just click on this button here to upload a certificate, and it's just a few drop-down boxes to complete. So you select a file to upload. So if you can scan the certificate or the documents, convert it into a PDF, and you can upload it here. You complete when you did the training, the course name, if the course falls into any of the existing categories that we've got, so you can just log it. If something happened, you did something in sterilisation, you can put that. You've also got the other option to put in other, and then actually specify what the course is. So the example on the previous page was about IT. You can write down who provided the training and roughly how many hours it took. And then again, if you wanted to include reflective learning, that is another option. So if I just go back and show you, that was a basic IT skills course. It was classed it as an other because I created IT. It says how long it went for. And then there's the option to download the previous uploaded certificate that I've put onto the training. And this can be used for all sorts of training or anything to do with work instructions, SOPs, any sort of where a document needs to be logged to confirm something is completed, you can upload it in this section here. You've also got other training records, and this section is for where you don't actually have a physical document to confirm what's happened. So for example, here, I put the activity as other, and I've actually visited, Pauline's actually visited a theatre and observed some sessions within surgery, which I think is super beneficial as part of decontamination training. Logged the number of hours and when this happened. So this section is purely that there isn't a document to upload alongside it. If there was, it could go into uploaded certificates and sit within this bracket here. And then Isopharm certificates. So it's really straightforward and easy to access and understand, just sitting under this section here. And finally, in this section of the platform, the final option would be My Account. Really straightforward, where your details are logged. So we literally in this section have just got your name, email address, your job role, which you basically add in as you verify your account when you first subscribe. You can add your job description in, and you can add multiple job descriptions in. So if you look after multiple different areas, if you want to include endoscopy and sterile services, that is an option. Or if you look after any areas of like administrator, you can just click that and include that on there and update your job role. And it just advises that it's been saved. You can change your password here as well. So you create the account, you're issued a password, and then you would just go to this section to change it. And then there's a little bit of information about the membership type and when you actually started the subscription. And the subscriptions all last 1 year from start date. So a few more areas just to look at. So view all other categories. Just want to cover things like health and safety courses. I'm not going to go through the content of these, but it just gives you an overview of the kind of courses that are included as part of the subscription. So I know these are already set up for a lot of trusts already, but this is straightforward standard information where another location for you to access. I've got a few courses here on staff development. And there's also some more on staff and HR. A lot of these courses within the staff and HR section are actually allocated to sort of management section. So if you put your job title down as a deputy manager or a manager of a department, there would be more courses here to access, and I will show you that in the next section as well. So another way to look at this would be validation engineers courses. Obviously, Pauline's been put down as a decontamination technician, and we've just updated her to be also an administrator. So if I go to validation engineer courses, there's actually no courses available because her job title has not been associated to those types of courses. But all of the courses are available to anybody that purchases the subscription, and you can do this by going to bookmark more courses. So this is purely just because the job role hasn't been allocated to the type of course. So here you can see all the usual SSD courses. But if we scroll down to validation engineer, process data acquisition and reporting, there's a lot more courses here, and this is related to validation engineer software. So realistically, not relevant to the decontamination technician role, but they can still access the courses if there's any sort of development or they were looking to go into sort of engineering as a career. You can actually then still access the courses. So for example, let's click this one, add to your course list. And then if we go back to my course list, so as you first log on, go back to process data acquisition, and before there was no courses, and now I've bookmarked it, I can access the course and take it. It's exactly the same for the HR courses that we just spoke about. So if I scroll down, staff and HR, see there's many courses but previously weren't available to a decontamination technician, but they can access through the bookmarking process here. So just to go back to engineering courses, I best do that through bookmarking because you can't see them. So there's a handful of engineering courses available at the moment, but the main focus for engineering courses are coming and looking to be released by the end of July this year. So this is what we have at the moment. There's a bit of focus on the software side of things, but we are bringing in a lot more to do with thermometric testing, looking at calibrations, thermocouples, things like that. There's more courses to come under the water testing sections, so aseptic sampling techniques, electrical conductivity, pH analysis, Legionella, and many more courses to do with steam quality and the testing of that side of things. So this section will basically be growing, and end of July, there'll be a lot more content under engineering courses. So what I'd like to do now is just show you, as part of a department manager, the view that they would actually get as part of the online platform, because they do actually have a little bit more access and are able to see what their staff are actually training on. So to do that, I'm just going to log out, and then I'm going to log in as another account. Perfect. Okay. So start again. This is Ali, Deputy Decon Manager. Got access to the 3 sections just as previously Pauline had. And now you can also have another section on the menu of department management. And there's a few things just to run through here. So dashboard. This basically is a dashboard of all the people that are under my department. So as Ali, we have 11 people under this department, including Ali herself. And this explains all the names that are under that department. So these all have their own subscription account. And this explains the number of hours of training that they've done. Lewis here hasn't done any training, that's why it's red and on 0. but we can flick through the different names here, and it shows the different numbers of hours of training done. Ali's not done any training. So it's a really handy view to be able to just see how much training people are actually doing. And if they're allocated so much training a week, you hopefully start to see this build up. The training registers after an assessment, a course has been completed and an assessment has been completed, so it will calculate the hours based on that. Another option to look at is a team member register. So this doesn't show the number of hours, but it shows you the information about how the person has been set up. So including the job titles. So this person here has got 2 job titles, which is absolutely fine, but it just explains what they've allocated themselves as. The department that they're registered under, the date that they were last online. So if you're expecting to see people on the training platform on a weekly or daily basis, that would be nice. You can actually see when they were last logged on. Just gives an overview of when their subscription renew date actually ends, and also what access they've got. So here, these people can only do a view only, which is what the same basically as what the Pauline access was. It's a staff level, and here's an admin level. So this is Ali and actually myself that can do this admin view. And then it just carries on for the 11 people. So if I click on a name here, so I click on Maria. Again, a bit of information just to explain that she's an apprentice decon technician at the Yorkshire SSD. She's only got view only and was last online on the 17th. But what I can actually also see here is Maria's courses that she's completed and when they were completed. I also have access to download them if I wanted to put them into any sort of training records. But again, it's all online, so they can all just stay there. I have access to understand any uploaded certificates. These, the document is Maria's document, so only she would have access to download it, but I can oversee what it is that has been uploaded. And also, I can also see the other training records. So as a department manager, you get to see all your staff's training, and you can understand what courses they've been doing as well. And then the final section is a department register. So here, the department is a Yorkshire SSD. If you were running multiple departments that were separate, so some trusts have endoscopy decontamination and sterile service departments and are actually separate, you could actually create 2 different departments. So you can go into each department to see what the staff names are. So if I just show you Yorkshire SSD, this is just some basic information that we include to set up the account. And again, it just brings you back to your team register. So dashboard to show how long everybody's been working on training. And then the team register. And then you can go into the individual names and actually look at their training. So just a final section on this would be just to let you know about upcoming courses. So on this menu here, which is the same menu as the main website, you click on upcoming courses. So this platform, as I said, launched with 70 courses, and we've got at least another 40 currently under construction. And these are more of the courses that focus on sort of the background detail to help assist with the roles, and a bit more information about what's actually going on with the department. So a little bit of explanation about here, we can see how ultrasonic washers work, doing some work with engineers to have an overview of the standards and guidance. Endoscopy decontamination, we're going to create a module to help with any of the scopes that do require sterilisation and being really clear and understanding what that process involves. Got lots of courses about surgical instrumentation, really understanding and helping to identify, name the instruments, and also what sort of surgery that they're used for, just to help with the understanding and the processes. And there's lots of courses to come about quality side of things. So looking at understanding what CQC is, understanding about different types of audits, JAG accreditation. So lots more information to come on the courses. And these are already sort of in progress, working with our industry experts to get these created and launched. The release dates just gives an idea of which quarter they're going to be available in, but realistically, we're going to be looking to launch courses every month, and we would send out notification about those as well. So I'm just going to go back to the presentation. Okay. And just a few things to final up. Basically, I've just explained there's lots of courses to coming. We're going to constantly review the content that's already been created, and if anything needs to be changed, updated, refreshed, that will happen, and we can do that very quickly. The courses that have been created on the sterile services and endoscopy side of things are basically technician level courses. So we are looking to create content for next role levels, such as supervisory levels, team leaders, and production managers, and they would be classed as supplementary to the existing technician courses. So we would ask everybody to complete technician courses, and then there's going to be additional supplementary courses coming for the different role levels. Also looking to provide additional skills for staff that are looking to develop their careers. So if you've got some budding technicians that are looking to become supervisors, it's not also just about the decontamination process. We're also looking to create courses to help bring them some skills to understand how to be a supervisor and what's required to do that. And ultimately, those courses would be available to sit alongside. If you've got someone that you're looking to progress, you could probably give them access to those courses before they actually take on the role, so they're ready to do the role as they start. We're looking at building modules if there's any changes in the industry. So anything that happens with any guidance, HTMs, ISOs, anything like that, we would look to build content to assist yourselves as well as staff, but ultimately helps the management level out as well. And we've already started talks looking at other areas of decontamination within hospitals. So areas such as looking at beds, carts, wheelchairs, things like that. And we're looking to create content to assist those roles as well. And also any training that you would like. I think if somebody was looking for any particular course, there'll be other departments that were looking for that as well. And we're basically here to want to help and move departments forward. So if you think there is a course missing or there is something that would be really helpful to your course, we're happy to help create it alongside you, and then obviously launch it onto the platform so other departments would have access as well. So just to say that the platform is very live, and we're looking sort of three to 4 weeks at the moment, and we've actually have got 15 departments and companies signed up to the training package already, which is absolutely fantastic. And we've just had so much positive feedback, which is brilliant. I'm so proud of what's been created. And yeah, basically looking for feedback all the time, positive and negative, just so that we can build on it and understand where we can improve and help with everybody else's decontamination careers, move them forward too. So just a quick overview. So there is a cost, obviously, to the training, but you're basically getting all of these courses, 70 live courses, new courses that are being released. So all the ones that I've just shown on the website, there's basically 40 under construction, and the new courses coming for supervisory levels and skills would also be available. And as soon as anything is launched and is live, then that is available in your subscription straight away. There's no additional costs on there. If the platform gets any additional functionality, that would just automatically be released for yourselves. There's no additional costs. And And we really do want to see this as a decontamination sort of community-led platform. So working with all of the departments and engineers just to get the feedback, updates, any sort of things that would be really helpful for them. Anywhere that people are struggling, we would love to build those sort of modules and get that created for them. And as you can see, there's a pop-up just come up. So for all of you guys that have attended today's webinar, there is a discount available with quoting that code, which is fantastic, 10% discount. And that's basically it. I'm going to have a quick look to see if we've got any questions that needs access, or I think we're looking good with all our questions. So I'm going to leave this last screen on for you. Make a note of the code for the 10% discount. And then there's some contact details on there. So if you've got any questions after you've left the webinar today, you can reach myself. There's another email address there for hospital CPD, which myself and our tech guys and engineer support can access and offer you any assistance. And then all the information that I've been talking about today is actually on the website, which is there's a website written there, and you can get all the information. But it'd be great to hear back from some of you, get some feedback, and hopefully get people online and subscribed. Brilliant, I think we're good. So thank you very much for your time today. It's been excellent having you on my first webinar. Thank you.